Hi, welcome, welcome. Thank you, friends, for joining us. I am Roberta Aylward, and I'm in my studio in Portland, Oregon, and I'm with Lois Keller, who is in her studio in Studio City, California, which is Los Angeles. Am I right? Okay. We are here celebrating the culmination of 30 days, 31 days of a deep dive into our studio practices and sharing the project that we did, which is a self-directed residency in tandem for the month of October 2024.
Woo!
Yeah, woohoo, yes, time to celebrate. We created a slideshow presentation to share here with you to explain and share what we did and the work that we made during this month.
Yeah,
Ready?
let's get into
Right
it.
in. Okay, I'll share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, here we are. Can you see that?
Yes.
Great. So we never really came up with a an official name. So this is still called our self-directed artist residency with Lois Keller and Roberta Aylward, October 2024. And here we are. Let's start by introducing ourselves, perhaps, and sharing a little bit. I am Roberta Aylward. I'm in my studio in Portland, Oregon. Here I am in my studio in the slideshow. Lois?
Yes, and yours is that's my studio. It's in the back. It's a garage that's a converted garage space.
Oh yeah, that mine is the same. It's a remodeled 1.5 car garage. And Lois and I met, gosh, about 18 months ago, a year and a half ago, in a membership, a networking organization called Network. And we found each other in that group and started an accountability partnership around
Websites.
Yeah, updating our websites. So we have been engaged in the professional practice of artists. And Lois, do you want to talk about how this idea?
Yeah, it's funny. We don't really know whose idea it was, but we were just a little overwhelmed by all the business of art. And we had kind of developed not only a camaraderie, a companionship, a friendship, I think. And we could both tell we were really longing to get more into the paint, is what we used to say. And so we just, one of us, I don't know who it was, proposed to do a self-guided home studio residency. And off we went, and we both dove right in. It was really fun, rewarding, surprising, and really happy that we did it.
Yeah, that was a good day when we came up with this idea. Okay, let's start with why did we create a self-directed residency? First, we both wanted to experience a deeper focus of our studio practices.
To engage in creative camaraderie.
We wanted some accountability.
Time to expand on ideas in our sketchbooks.
And to fully appreciate and utilize our home studios.
For sure. We both have families, and it's hard for us to go on a month-long residency, traditional artist residency. We have a lot of obligations, and decided we would just do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And we did the accountability part was what we thought we needed. That's how we started our relationship. So we used daily communication to be accountable to each other. Whereas before with the websites, we used to check in every 2 weeks. So this was a daily thing. We used an app called Marco Polo, which is a video messaging app to connect with each other daily. And this collection of videos is a record of our creative process, a repository for our thoughts, ideas, and artwork. And we thought we would start with one video a day and we kept going. It was a lot of fun back and forth. Felt like I had a real companion in my studio with me. And we'd also text as well.
Yeah, I felt the same. This was a really great app. I'd never used it before. Thanks for introducing it to me, Lois. And I have already gone back and watched some of the earlier videos to see where I was a month ago. And it's a great repository for
Also
ideas.
good to just kind of document what we were thinking at the same time, both for our own practice and coming up with our artist statements and moving forward, and also great communication with each other.
Yeah, and we can still use it.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to start? Here you are in your studio.
Okay, I'm going to go through a little quick thing of what happened to me and how this all played itself out. So I am a compulsive and prolific artist in many mediums, but primarily painting and drawing. For this residency, I wanted to slow down and make my work more intentional by expanding on the sketches and incomplete work that had been piling up at my studio. So one thing I hope to experience during this time is to transfer my desire to be seen or understood through my art and not through outside influences like Instagram, you know, being in shows and kind of other things that I think I had been spending too much time on. So we'll go to the next slide. How I started is I created space for myself by removing the obstacles, like I had mentioned before, work piling up and making stations. So this space actually in the back is used for a lot of many things, but October was slated for me. So I took everything out Marie Kondo style and was able to kind of sift through things and started with a nice empty space, just like I would if you showed up at a artist residency in another place. So, and I was able to get to work by clearing out the old space. So next slide.
Yeah, and Lois, I just want to say, I remember when you were going through this process and your before and after, sort of the days leading up to getting to this place with a big blank wall, and it really felt like a big inhale, exhale for you. And
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so through that process, I found some work that I had not taken to fruition, not completed. I mean, maybe it was done, I don't know, but I never took the time to decide. So I decided to, with my oil painting station, get those back out and organized. And working back into a painting is not always comfortable, but by activating my oil paints that had been lying dormant, I was able to get away from a more illustrative format into the feeling of a painting by responding to the medium. So I basically just got into the paint. We talked about making messes a lot during this residency because we didn't have a dedicated outcome. We weren't trying to make a show. We weren't trying to submit for anything. We were really just into the paint. And I felt like I was able to do that. And through my back and forth with Roberta, I really felt like I love where this painting went. And I feel like it evokes something more than illustrate something, and that was definitely one of my goals. So next slide. And another one that we mentioned was expanding on the goals of the residency, was taking ideas out of my sketchbook and onto the canvas. So these are older drawings, but they had a lot of meaning for me. They had a lot of, and they also related to each other. And so I decided to get them onto a large canvas that I had. Next slide.
Thanks, Lois. I have not seen this drawing painting in your sketchbook, the one on the left, which turned into a painting during this last month. And I really love seeing that in your sketchbook. Is that watercolor or ink or both?
Yeah, it's ink and watercolor. I was reading a lot of Shakespeare and really again, taking kind of my theatrical background and trying to put it into my own expression. I've always kind of been either there or there, and I really wanted to combine the two.
And I also love this shadow that's cast on the sketchbook. I noticed that a lot of your work is your photography also of 3D.
That is what I learned. Like I intentionally took the picture of the sketchbook with this light source doing that as opposed to, you know, squaring it up perfectly with lighting. And being in the studio and in my space, feeling a lot of the air and the movement and the light all around was super influential on me, and it took me to a whole new place that I cannot wait to move forward with.
Yeah, the first pieces of yours that I saw were about light and shadow and paper sculpture from a residency you did in France was that last year?
Yeah, yeah, it was a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. And about looking, and we talked about this. We were able to. I want people, you know, as we were working, I want people to look into my paintings, not at them. That was something both of us came up
I
with.
love that.
Yeah. Next slide. So there's the painting, the finished painting. It's 30 inches by 40 inches. It's back there. And it had a lot of fun. I loved it. It's just reflecting, and there's light and there's air, and I had fun with the paint, using oil paint, and I think it reflects exactly what I was getting out of this, trying to explore something. So go to the next one.
I love this one. I love the reflections in the water and the palette. I guess
we had a lot of fun with that palette, the
Yeah.
skies.
Yeah. Oh, right. The skies.
And then I had this big piece of paper that I found and decided to just staple it to the wall, not worry about, you know, if I'd have to frame it for a show or any other thing, and just let it be my expressive way of I love drawing, and I love what the movement in drawing, and I think it really helps kind of convey what I was trying to do is by going into a painting. So I stapled this on the wall. Originally I'd stapled it portrait style, and then having been in here so long, all of a sudden I just decided I needed to do it that way, and found this in my sketchbook, this one here, and took it further and had a blast just having it in here and being able to work on it. It was so great to come into the studio and have things to work on. And that is something I definitely learned from the studio, from this residency, is the stations and knowing what you were going to do when you were in here.
Yeah, that was early on, like the first week, perhaps, when we were talking about stations and having particular spots in our studio that were already set up so we could enter right into the studio and have a place to work in a sketchbook or to draw or to do ink drawings, instead of, in my case, having lots of piles of paper everywhere.
Yeah, let's get to yours. Let's see what you.
Okay, well, I want to say one more thing about this piece because I love the scale, and I remember when you put this piece of paper up on the wall, we have both seen each other make these jumps throughout the month where we just sort of advance to the next level, like leveled up with scale or a different medium, and just which created just more integration. I just love how this integrates with your other pieces, and it's a completely different medium. And yeah, just took it right out of your sketchbook and made it come alive.
Thank you.
Okay, here I am in my studio. I am an artist and primarily a painter. For this residency, I used oil stick and oil on paper and wood panels. I chose to expand on my use of stencil letters to create abstract works about the word and meaning of love. One thing I hope to experience during this time is a deeper understanding of my process, my pace, especially the ability to slow down, and decision-making in relation to another artist. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of judgment that happens when I'm working by myself in the studio, or not just judgment, but I'm in here with my thought process. And when I can talk about it and get it out and then get a response from another artist, from a friend, it really kind of frees me up to keep going. That was an exciting part of this process.
Oh yeah, that was actually, here, go back for 1 second. That was really exciting for me too, to see what was happening. And I felt like it wasn't a critique group, you know, where you were showing me a finished painting and trying to be like, is this finished? Does this look good? And, you know, more like composition or whatever. It was more really someone listening to you, and to be a witness to the creative process was really I'm grateful for. It was really a special thing that I think that we did together.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. I like that word witness instead of critic or critique.
Yeah.
I could say, yep, I stenciled a blob shape into my paintings today, and it wasn't like anything more than, oh, look, Roberta, I see that you painted a blob into your paintings today. And you know, you may have asked what that was about, or why, but it was
Yeah, it made us think a little bit
supportive.
further and more through things, you know?
I agree.
We're trying to fix our paintings.
Right, right. I love what you wrote and said about the importance of our sketchbooks, our sketchbook practice. And, you know, it's been going on for years for both of us. And this was an opportunity to look back through our old work and expand on some of these ideas. The stencil letter shapes are something that I have been working with for years, probably most recently in 2020. So it's been about 4 years since I have played with these shapes. I started here with the words, I love you. And I used the stencil letter shapes in an abstract way, rearranging them to create different figures. This was one I did right at the beginning of the month on the 2nd of October. So I did these graphite drawings in my sketchbook, and then I also used hand painted papers. This is acrylic on paper, collaged into my sketchbook. And these all represent the word love. So if you look for it, you can see that there's an L, the 2 curved shapes of the O, the interesting diagonal of the V, and then the E shape. And I know that this is something that I definitely want to expand on. I had thought that these pieces would go depictions of this love abstraction would be painted into my panels. And here is the beginning of that process. I chose 8 gessoed wood panels and began layering the letters LOVE in oil using stencils. I thought about the word love, its common usage, and what it means to me. So I made 8 of these panels with love arranged in different ways. And then I used this process of layering as a way to discover the my own personal meaning of the word.
It was so playful. It was so
Oh.
playful. And I think that with the drawing that you did in the sketchbook too, just speaks to taking an idea a lot further. And that's something that we really wanted to do. And I think that was super fun to watch and really important. And did you, for the sculptured letters, did you use the paint that you were working on from the others?
For which one?
Your paint swatches. Were those from your paint swatches that you had cut out?
Oh, these?
Yeah.
No, these were from my collection of painted papers over the years. And
But from
then
being in the studio, you can just see how it's just you're in there, and it's just a whirlwind of creativity and energy that's happening around everything.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. That was so, you know, the residency just helped me to keep going, you know, to keep this like note sustained for a month instead of kind of dipping into it and then forgetting where I was, maybe losing my place. So you really
Exactly, yeah.
help keep me focused. So here, see, I talked about that one. As you can see, things got more and more layered, and I want to say complicated, but also I just found myself
taking risks, maybe that you wouldn't have done if you had, I felt like you really were not afraid to try anything. Anything could happen.
yeah, it certainly was exciting. I'll read what I wrote. I was surprised and delighted to find other shapes from my visual vocabulary emerge and integrate with my study of LOVE, love. I also liked having interchangeable panels to arrange on newly installed shelves for this project. I did put up these shelves midway through because these are 3/8 inch pieces of plywood, which are gessoed. And we had talked about games or puzzles and interchangeable pieces. I love working with the parts of a whole. So this really suited my needs. I could move the panels around and see which ones talk to each other. This photo on the right are some of those are finished and some of were works in progress. At one point I wrote love is in green, but then I moved the panels around so you can't see that directly in this photo. But each one feels to me like a different interpretation of that word, love. Some are simple and easy, and some are undefined. I introduced this kind of a blob shape that I've been working with for years, which is related to that sort of undefined aspect of the emotion, or it's also kind of a void, that dark shape. And then
I think something like this, it was really fun to have someone to bounce your thoughts off of.
Oh, definitely. No, I so appreciate everything that you contributed here, Lois. The one thing I wanted to say is as soon as I wrote on the painting, what I was thinking is love is, I had the opportunity to work with the S, which is a very fun shape. So then that S shape kind of grew from the bottom corner up to the top corner of these 8 panels. So yeah, I just had a lot of fun with layering. And this piece here is one of the panels in a finished state. So maybe this series is called Love Is. This painting I titled Askew, with that V shape kind of hanging in the balance within the void. So gets a bit psychological.
Yeah. But you had them up the whole time, and so like a little adjustment would be made here or there while you were working on some other things, cleaning your stencils and just being present, being really present and not being distracted.
Oh yeah,
home residency was about, just to be in it,
yeah, thanks for mentioning too the cleaning of my stencils. I don't have any of those pieces represented in the slideshow, but I would I'll share one. I don't know if you can see this, but I would go through this process every day of cleaning off my stencils, and created a whole separate series of works on paper with the rubbings from the stencils. So I think we both have like a bigger list of things to do now that we've gone through this together, of more series that we want to work on. And
yeah, like when you think of a series of work or series of that, oh, I want to work in a series to get into a gallery, or people want to see a series. It has a whole new meaning for me now. A series it's just all immersive of what you're working on at the time for yourself, not for anybody else.
Yeah, these are 2 pieces on paper, oil on paper. They are roughly 21 inches square, and The one on the left, Lost Love, is started as a place where I could clean my stencils. So I had a lot of rubbings of the love stencils on that piece. These both started as exercises and evolved into finished works. The piece on the right, Chrysanthemum, I think we were talking about chrysanthemums, or they're currently in the garden. They're about to bust out. It's fall. It's beautiful here. Where I am, the leaves are changing, and we both have a lot of orange in our work. And I was talking to my sister-in-law in Wisconsin, and she asked if we had the sugar maples here. Maybe there are. I mean, it's not a. I don't think there are a lot in Portland. We have a lot of color, but not this color, orange is, or vermilion, I suppose. Anyway, the chrysanthemum piece for me is just fun. It's just, I mean, it's definitely related to the love works, as it has the same feeling for me. So,
and you were able to get to it because, and you were able to leap off the page away from love, but within the same vein. And that was very fun and exciting too.
Yeah, for that, the chrysanthemum piece was just fun. I mean, I loved using all of those colors and making it abstract. I don't know if you can read the word right away, or if you can read the word at all. I know it says chrysanthemum. I like how it says mum on the bottom too, which that's a whole nother conversation. So as I wrote, they became great repositories for ideas in the moment. So these works are, you know, probably fresher to me than the other ones. Okay, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we learned and discovered. We wrote some notes here, and then we can expand on them if you want.
So I found focus, inspiration, and companionship by working together. That's self-explanatory. It was like I got to work. I was inspired all the time. When I was not in the studio, I wanted to be. When I was out and about, I was texting Roberta about what we were working on or what she was working on. It just fed the flame of inspiration and being in here. I also created more thoughtful work that felt completed, inspired, and authentic. Like I said, I am kind of a manic paint artist. I'm making art nonstop every day and not really ever taking the time to think about and making it a little bit more just complete or something, you know, completing a thought. And the crazy thing, my favorite thing is I discovered that I want my art to move. And I have been slowly experimenting with video and kind of performance and installation and light and shadow. And by being in here and watching that all happen, I have a video where I threw some marbles onto that painting and realized not all art needs to hang on a wall. And so that was my most profound moment with this, and as well as finding out that you're 5'10". Roberta and I have never met in person, and that was so fun. I found that out yesterday when we were working together. So I think that just speaks to having so much fun doing this, being accountable, realizing that we need support in the studio from another artist, and I just feel very grateful and very lucky to have done this with you.
Yay, I feel the same. Yeah, and yay for technology and for using that app to communicate, because I don't know that I could, you know, we have the privacy of working in our own spaces and the fortune to do that. And then the video app was such a window into your world. But like just enough. And again, we could tune in whenever we wanted. So it really worked. I love what you said about having that epiphany right at the end. And that's one of the things that I discovered is that I thrive in the structure of a residency. I thrive in structure, period. And the limited month-long time frame supported follow through of ideas and completion of work. I don't like deadlines. I don't like, although, you know, deadlines are a great way to get something done. So since we're accountable to each other, but we weren't accountable to any institution or anything else, I didn't feel this pressure to have to complete anything or to finish something for the sake of having it finished. I could leave things kind of open-ended, but like you said, you had that epiphany in the last few days, and the same thing happened to me where I really wanted to finish something. So I did. I was when I
Late last
I
night.
was supposed to be working on this presentation with you yesterday. I was in here painting, and I still have a real messy palette happening. I just set the computer right on top of it. So yeah, I like that. I like the framework of this, and the accountability and your support through all of this, and your reflection, Lois, of my work.
Pleasure is all mine. I feel like the flexibility was maybe a little bit of the key to us, but having it work so well, just finding out every day we were like, this is working. Like we didn't know if it would work. We really didn't, you know, we'd never even worked together.
We didn't know what we were doing, and it did work, which is great.
And we allowed space for each other, and then finding out that it worked, we really wanted to, it pushed us. So
yeah, and I want to touch on that we both have home studios, we both have families, and other outside obligations. So without the residency, I still have a studio practice, and I'm still, you know, stopping to do laundry or make dinner or run an errand or whatever. With the residency, I had to get in here, and I wanted to get in here, but you know, it's really, there's always that point in the day where it's easy to say, well, I'll just, you know, I'll pick it up again tomorrow. But
I think because we called it residency, we kept feeling, and having that deadline felt like if I was at another residency, I would only have 3 days left. I would want to use the most of my time in here. So I kind of had that mindset, which was helpful. And the thing that surprised me is I felt more integrated with my family and my home life, and less from any of the other outside things that I had obligations to do, any kind of art business or art networking or art, other types of things that I thought that I needed to do, or projects I had said yes to, or teaching assignments. That was the stuff that was bothering me. I really felt at home making work in my environment, my own environment.
Yeah, and one of the things about a daily practice is, and like the magic is to